Marnie Pearson with IdeaMarketers.com, and my guest today is Lisa Ray Preston of StepIntoDestiny.com. Lisa has developed the Step Into Destiny test, which is just fantastic. I use it with all my clients. I use it in my home, and I'm excited about the new workshop that Lisa's going to be offering around STEP that's coming out. And so, Lisa, thanks for being with me today.
Thank you, Marnie.
Yeah. So I know there's a history behind STEP, and it's been a long time dream of yours to be able to kind of crawl inside people's minds and figure out what they're thinking, right?
It has. Even as a preschooler, I would watch people reacting in situations and wonder why the same situation could cause distress and anger for one person, while another person may just shrug and laugh it off. And I would see people in a situation that made me happy, they were acting sad and bored. And I would think, boy, I wish I could just crawl inside their heads and see what they're thinking. Maybe, I could help them if I knew what their thought processes were. So I've spent my life analyzing other people and delving into research on personality type, neuroscience, and accelerated learning techniques. Back in 2007, I was consulting some clients around building a business based on their passion. And then when I would ask, so what is your passion? Almost every time I got either silence or I don't know, I haven't figured it out yet. So I thought, well, it would be cool to create a test that would actually uncover somebody's passion. So I started researching and compiling information on destiny, passion, mission, purpose, calling, and finally thought there's just no way to test all of the variables that could come into play, as far as what fuels one's soul and sparks that passion. Many times, passion just seemed connected to somebody's life experience. You kind of think of Hurricane Katrina and how some people who were couch potatoes one minute, boom, were heroes the next, going down to New Orleans and helping in the rescue and recovery efforts. So I was talking to my pastor and told him I really didn't think there was any way to create a test that would decipher somebody's passions. And he kept saying, no, I think there's a way, keep going. So I decided, well, let me interview people who are living their passion. That's very evident that they're experiencing life from a sense of joy. And then I'll ask them, so why do you do this? Why do you do that? Why do you do that? And see if I can dissect it down to their core motivation. So I conducted numerous interviews and put the research together and was really surprised to find out that everybody fell into one of four categories. The first category is the S in Step Into Destiny for service. And these people were driven to serve humanity in some way, whether by helping meet the needs of others in a hands-on fashion, or to entertain, or to simply experience life in such a grand and complete physical way that others would enjoy the experience just by watching the person. So that was the service. Then there was a truth type, and the truths vigorously wanted to bring clarity, truth, and justice to the world. The E stands for empathy in STEP. And the empathy types thrived when they were nurturing others, encouraging them. They really thrived on harmony and cooperation. And the P in STEP is for potential. And this group of people wanted to help others become aware of their personal strengths, on looking beyond what's in the here and now to the possibilities of what could be. Potentials seem to be the more like creative visionary types. So I realized while I could not test for every possible variable that could cause passion to rise within someone. I could create a test that would decipher which of the 4 cores you were, and then share what kinds of passion spring from each core.
Yeah, and I remember, a couple of years ago when you shared this with me, the immediate thing I wanted to do is to have you start sharing that with my audiences, and I booked you to come out to Utah and do the Light the World Birthing Your Destiny event with us, and that was really where you got a lot of good feedback on STEP, wasn't it?
That's where STEP was ignited. Many of the ladies said they found the information life-changing and became part of the research team. One of our discoveries was that each core type had a particular brain and language pattern. And by reading those patterns, you could see what somebody's motivations were and pretty accurately predict what their reactions and behavior would be. And each core type, even has a particular body language. So I kind of look at STEP as bringing a threefold benefit to the table. First of all, there's the benefit to a person personally. I think the research in the program heightens your inner discernment and helps you connect with brilliance that you may not have known you even had. So on one side of the coin, STEP helps you connect with your natural strengths and talents that flow from your core, that bring you the greatest joy and the most energy. On the other side of that coin is that you were never meant to be limited to one personality type. Now, I know that comment flies in the face of traditional personality theory, but we've discovered how to use STEP to access the gifts and talents of each core and bring them back to you and make them your own. It's powerful stuff I've never heard anywhere else, and I don't think you're going to hear anywhere else. The second big benefit of STEP is that it helps you build stronger relationships. With STEP, you can literally access the 4 types of core passion, walk inside their heads, think their thoughts, and understand exactly why they act the way they do. You'll literally predict the behavior that's coming and anticipate another person's needs before one's word is even spoken. And the third big benefit of STEP is using it from a marketing standpoint. As an entrepreneur, when you can speak the core language of your market and connect with their brain patterns, they feel like you get them, you understand them. And that creates a trust, a desire to work with you, to explore what products you have to offer. It's a huge benefit. Anytime you can bring your heart and soul to the table and connect with the soul of your market, you're looking at making more profit.
Well, one of the things that I use in my business that I've noticed is like when I very first started out doing videos and stuff, I'm a potential empathy. So most of my videos that I started with were from very empathetic, making you feel good and everything. And then once you started teaching me the STEP, and I realized I'm the potential primary, and I started more actively engaging from that potential house, then my videos shifted to being more potential type videos. And I started speaking the language of potentials, which interestingly enough brought me the audience that I needed to reach, because I'm helping light bearers, people who want to put themselves out there. They have an idea. They want to get it out. They're predominantly potentials. And so as I stopped being so empathy driven in my videos and got more potential driven, then I was able to really engage my market. And the interesting thing was, I'd get compliments on the videos while they were empathy-based. But when I went to the potential, then people started contacting me and saying, can I hire you? Can I, will you consult me? Can I pay you to help me? Where the others like, oh, I like that, but they weren't going to pay me anything. So it really made a big difference, I think, when I started speaking the language of my market, which happened to be the same core passion type as me.
When you went from empathy to potential, those videos were extremely drawing, magnetic, powerful. I mean, your passion was just evident. It wasn't like I'm just teaching you something. It's like come look at my soul.
Now, recently you had somebody ask you if using STEP to access the core motivations and thoughts of other people is really ethical. What's your answer to that?
I thought that was a wonderful question. STEP is a tool to uncover the brilliance in yourself and others, to connect with people very deeply. And in my opinion, the hand that holds dishonor, it can never be as powerful as the hand that holds honor. So put a tool in the hand of an honorable man, and it will yield more power because of the person holding it. The process of understanding STEP is all about validating and celebrating others and yourself. You know, none of us on the research team in 3 years ever spoke of using STEP for selfish purposes. There were so many wonderful ways to grow and love and inspire and transform lives. We never thought of using it inappropriately. When you're writing your sales copy, you know, you speak to the person in their core language. You want to persuade a person to buy your product. I guess that can be considered manipulation. But really, if you're not honoring someone's core, they're going to see the incongruence and discount you. You don't have to be super intuitive to know when you're being dishonored. So I don't think somebody can fake for very long the sincere desire to connect with the core of another person. I think people will see through you like a keyhole. The power of STEP is that, you know, in a relationship, even if the other person in the relationship doesn't try to connect with you from your core, it doesn't prevent you from being able to get along with them better and improving your life. It removes the angst, frustration, the stress, the agony, and the misperceptions for you. And that alone brings peace. And when you're not upset all the time, you've got a ton more energy and you're able to move forward without feeling like you're stuck in somebody else's mud. When you connect with someone through their brain and language patterns, you honor him and he acts better. So he becomes happier and more of who he was created to be. Is that manipulation? I guess it depends on your definition. The tremendous good that STEP can do far outweighs, in my opinion, any pitiful attempt of an unethical manipulator.
So, Lisa, how have you used STEP to help you to, along your personal journey, your own self-development? How have you used it in your life?
Well, for me personally, STEP has helped me overcome issues of depression and productivity, has helped me to use my own gifts more effectively. Our greatest strengths can be our greatest weaknesses, right? So with STEP, you learn to master your strengths so that you're not at the mercy of them. As a potential, I've struggled with depression related to my inspiration or lack thereof. If I was inspired, I could be super productive. If I was uninspired, I would get little done. And through STEP, I've been able to connect with the strengths of each core and be productive no matter how I'm feeling. So I'm learning to master my inspiration and not live at the mercy of it.
Right. So how has it helped you with your own relationships, say in your families or with friends? Or
it's helped with everybody, really. But in my own family, one of my nieces is a truth, and I'm a potential, and I really didn't understand her core needs and what she wanted out of life, what was important to her. And often I would try to interact with her, and she would get upset, and you try to say the right thing, it's just not going over so well. But when I learned to read her patterns, her thoughts, anticipate where she's coming from, what she's going to say next or do next, she felt like, oh my gosh, somebody gets me here. And I'll never forget one day we're at my kitchen table talking, and she looked at me and her chin kind of dropped. And she said, Aunt Lisa, I love you, and just gave me a big hug. And our relationship became better and better because finally I wasn't at a loss when I watched her behavior. I understood where she was coming from and was able to value it, and she knew that I valued it. You know, parents want to help their children succeed, right? And the trouble is, we think that a strategy that helped us in a particular situation is going to be the same thing that's going to help our child in that situation. We try to help somebody based on our own core. That's just natural. We give a strategy, and that doesn't work. So we go back to the old drawing board. We come up with another strategy, which is just a modification of the first strategy because we really don't know what else to do. And if the person is a different core than us, those strategies are not going to work. But if you have one simple technique from that person's core, you can fix the issue just like that. You and I were talking to two members of our truth research team, and they outlined a technique to use with a child who's a truth, who's feeling upset and very frantic. And the language used to soothe that child was shocking to me. I thought, man, if you had said that to me, I'd have been devastated. I'd have felt crushed. And I certainly would never have thought of saying that phrase to anybody else, thinking it would help them. So it's extremely powerful and effective when you're trying to help somebody else, when you can enter their heads and see what they're thinking, feeling, what the landscape looks outside of their eyeballs. Because really and truly, each core has a totally different landscape. We can unintentionally wound each other when we don't know how the other person interprets our core behavior and words. You might think you're being caring, and that's indeed your intention. I'm being caring here. But the other person may think you don't even like her because of how you responded to something. So you can see how tapping into somebody else's brain patterning can transform communication and understanding, and can diffuse and stop destructive conflict early on.
Yeah, there's no doubt that it helps in families. I know that. Talk a little bit more about how it can help us, those of us who are entrepreneurs.
Okay, this is so powerful, and this illustration never ceases to amaze me every time I share it. I have a friend who told me about 2 different webinars she did with the same market, and it was basically a potential market, self-help and entrepreneurial types. She had around 300 to 400 people on each webinar. In one, she used language that connected folks to their dreams. And in that webinar, she made 59 sales of a $97 a month product. Okay. Then a couple weeks later, she does another webinar. Again, same market, 300 to 400 people. This time, instead of talking about dreams, she talked about people's goals and moving forward and reaching their goals. At the end of that presentation, she made 2 sales. It was unbelievable to her and to me. In the first webinar, she spoke the language of the potential customer. In the second webinar, she used language from a different core, and sales plummeted. So brain and language patterns really can make all the difference in the world. This also plays out in coaching and client, or consulting and client relationships. What if you knew the exact phraseology that would help your client reach her goals? Imagine every single person you work with makes tremendous gains and accelerates past their goals. And do you think these clients would become raving fans? Yeah, and match your coaching and consulting to their core. And you'll get that kind of effectiveness. They'll sing your praises far and wide because it works.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the program that you're putting together, the step training that you have available. Tell us what that entails exactly.
The first Step into Destiny teletraining begins Tuesday, April 17th. And I'm going to teach 4 sessions on how to read and connect with the 4 core passion brain patterns. We're just going to dive in and discuss all 4 types, the service, truth, empathy, and potential, including their motivations, brain, body, and language patterns. And then in session 2, we're going to delve deeper into the service and potential types, 2 core opposites. Here's where brain drain takes place, where relationships can grow as boring as all get out. And literally, your energy can be drained in a matter of minutes around a person. We'll talk about the differences in these core types and how to understand each other. It is the creative genius versus the literal linear thinker. And you'll see how opposite their definitions can be, as well as find out how to crawl inside their brains and take a look around at the scenery. You'll find out what to do when what's meaningful to one type is meaningless to the other. Then in session 3, we're going to discuss 2 more opposites, the truth and the empathy. Now, here's where relationships can get volatile and deep wounding can take place. So much healing can happen when we learn how these 2 types view their worlds. While the service and potential types revolve around what's meaningful, truth and empathy core passion types deal with what's right, moral, compassionate. And believe it or not, what one type sees as loving, the other sees as downright immoral. So unravel the mysteries of how the nurturer and the objective truth seeker can connect without sending someone to the ER. So in session 4, we're going to bring it all together. Discuss how STEP can help you really live life to the fullest, to reach into your core and pull out treasure you may not have known was buried there. And we'll talk about how the entire family, even children, can use STEP to grow closer. You'll have discovered how each person in your family sees, feels, and thinks, and how to connect with them, showing them that you really get them, you really understand who they are, and you'll be able to enjoy each other more. You'll find yourselves laughing more, loving more, celebrating more. And in the final call, we'll also talk a little bit about how the entrepreneur can use STEP to increase sales and connection with their market.
Now, I know this is popular. You're getting a lot of signups for this, so can people still sign up?
Yes, you can find out all about the Step into Destiny teletraining at Step into Destiny. The easiest thing is just go to the stepintodestiny.com site and click on the training program at the top of the page.
Okay, great. Yeah, I love STEP. I've been using it for a couple of years now, ever since Lisa told me about it. And about 6 or 8 months ago, a lady called me and was doing a consult, and I was able to tell by the way she talked and everything that she was a primary potential. And so she was going through a typical cycle that I've noticed that these inspired, creative type people go through. And so I started to talk to her using the language of potentials and some of the things that potentials deal with. And it was so amazing for her that she immediately was like, oh, I got to work with you, because she realized I got where she was coming from and knew the typical challenges and things that those potentials face. And so I've noticed I'm able to do that with a lot of my clients. That was just the first time that I had it happen. I called Lisa up and I was like, man, this is amazing, And but I use it a lot with my clients because most of them are potentials. And if I'm able to talk to them with that language, they immediately, they click, they get that I get them and they hire me.
And in your family, you've used it.
Right. Yeah, I have. Like my son, Nate, is a truth. And most of the kids in our family are either potentials or empathies. I have one secondary truth, but I'm pretty sure that Nate is a primary truth. And he has kind of a quirky sense of humor, a little bit. And sometimes he's very kind of sarcastic and blunt, and he'll say things that the other kids or even my husband will find offense to. They'll think he's being rude or something like that. Well, really, now that I've learned STEP, I realize he's just stating facts as he sees them, and so it's helped me not take offense to what he says. It's helped me be able to cushion it with the other family members where, I'm able to say, well, look at it the way he's looking at it here. This is just a fact. It's not an emotional response that he's not trying to attack you emotionally. He's just stating a fact. So it's really helped me immensely with him. So thanks for being here with us, Lisa. Anything else you want to add in closing or?
No, this has been great. Thanks, Marnie.
All right. Thank you. Go to stepintodestiny.com.